students.
Good morning, Miss Myers.
Today we're going to be learning about foodborne illnesses and how to prevent them. Has anybody heard about foodborne illnesses before? Zeke?
I heard about them on the news.
Yes, Abby?
Yeah, they're illnesses you can get by eating food that is contaminated with a microbe or parasite, which can make people sick.
That's correct. You can have an answer candy. All around the world, people are affected by foodborne illnesses. Even here in the United States, there are outbreaks.
Hi class, my name is Dr. Guggenheim, and I'm here from the CDC, Center for Disease Control, and I'm here to help you to learn about foodborne illnesses. I heard from your teacher that you know the basics about foodborne illnesses, which is very impressive. But it would be more impressive if you could tell me about a local foodborne illness outbreak that occurred here in California about a year ago.
Sure. I heard about a nut harvesting company whose products were infected by foodborne illness earlier on this year.
Wasn't that the one where people got sick eating nuts and had to go to the hospital?
Wow, you guys are smart. You guys are talking about the DeFranco and Sons nut recall case. In this case, E. coli contaminated all the nuts that the company was producing. E. coli is naturally found in the human body, in the intestines. But when E. coli leaves the intestines, it can become very dangerous. E. coli is used to help break down the food that you eat so that you can gain nutrients from it.
So where in the body does it become dangerous?
Well, when E. coli enters your bloodstream, it causes stomach cramps, vomiting, and diarrhea.
Ew.
Yes?
I heard that sometimes it can lead to death.
Yes, unfortunately, some severe cases of this foodborne illness can cause death.
Well, I hope for certain someone gets infected.
Someone needs to help.
That's horrible. I'll do anything else to get infected. What should I eat to stay safe?
Well, does anyone know? Zeke?
No vegetables.
Not exactly. Any other ideas how to prevent E. coli, how to stop it from spreading? Laura?
What if we cooked all our foods? Would that kill the disease?
That's partially right. Most people in America have an oven or a stove. So as long as we cook our poultry to a minimum of 165 degrees Fahrenheit, we should be reasonably safe.
But are there other foodborne illnesses that can also lead to death?
Yeah, my friend was infected by salmonella last year. She missed school for a whole week.
Yeah, my uncle had it also. He was really sick and throwing up all the time and had terrible cramps.
Do you know any solution for salmonella?
My mom told me that if we cook all of our meats with an internal temperature of 135 degrees, if they're red meat, and all of our poultry with an internal temperature of 165 degrees, then the meat will be safe.
Very good. Have a candy.
Wasn't there an egg recall a couple of years ago? Yeah, I remember hearing over the radio that about 170 million eggs were recalled after finding salmonella in the barns where the hens were being raised. After that, people were afraid to eat eggs, whether they were cooked, scrambled, or fried.
I heard they were sold to 14 different states. Some major companies like West Creek and Sunny Farms sold these contaminated eggs.
I remember that. My mom wouldn't let me eat omelets for weeks. Oh, the horror.
Although I understand your concern, I don't think there are any deaths related to this outbreak at all. The entire country got lucky there.
So, are there any other places with foodborne illnesses?
Yes, foodborne illness outbreaks occur all over the world, all the time. For instance, in Haiti, there are massive cholera outbreaks. Most of the outbreak is caused by a faulty sewage system, but a good percent is caused by lack of safe food.
I don't know much about Haiti.
Neither do I. All I remember is the giant earthquake last year.
You're right. In 2010, there was a huge 7.0 earthquake in Haiti. It destroyed everything. If you'd like to know more about the country, I'd be glad to fill you in. My area of expertise...
Just tell us, doctor.
Fine. Haiti was originally a Spanish colony, but after a war between Spain and France, when the French won, Haiti became a French colony. That's why in Haiti, many people speak the French language. Anyways, in the year 1804, the Haitian people rebelled from France, and since then they've been an independent but third world country.
So Haiti had cholera and other diseases to begin with?
Well, Haiti being a third world country, it didn't have a very stable economy, government, or very good infrastructures. So it had problems there, but it didn't have such bad cholera or other diseases before the earthquake.
So what else about it?
Well, after the earthquake, cholera started to spread rapidly throughout the country. Sanitation levels plummeted. There was little clean water flowing through the country. It was very hard to dispose of human waste without becoming contaminated with other diseases, and it was very difficult to find clean, fresh meats and vegetables to eat. So far, 250,000 people have been affected by this cholera outbreak. 250,000 people. 4,600 people have died from this outbreak so far. So many casualties for something that we should be able to stop, but we can't. The first step to solving a foodborne illness like this is knowing what causes the illness. Class, do you know? Yes.
A wild guess. By eating or drinking food that has been contaminated?
Yes, have an answer, Candy. The second step to solving a foodborne illness is knowing the symptoms of the illness. Do any of you know the symptoms of cholera? Yes?
No. The symptoms of cholera are vomiting and rice water like diarrhea. Unfortunately, I don't know how to say that scientifically.
Well, that's about as scientific as I would have said it. In a country like the United States, where most people aren't going hungry, if you lost a little bit of food, say 1 meal a week or 1 meal a day, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But in a third world country, like Haiti, where somebody might only get 1 meal a day or 1 meal a week, losing just that much food could be the difference between life and death.
Wow, I didn't know the cholera outbreaks in Haiti were so terrible.
Yes, cholera causes a chronic diarrhea and vomiting. So it leads to dehydration, and dehydration leads to a slow and painful death.
That's a little too graphic.
I didn't know this was all so serious.
I think we talked enough about what cholera does to you. What about any solutions? Howdy?
What if we clean all our food before we eat it?
That's a great idea. To prevent foodborne illnesses, you can make sure your refrigerator and freezer are at the correct temperature. Refrigerate or freeze perishable foods. Make sure you wash your hands thoroughly before preparing food. Prevent cross-contamination of your utensils. And lastly, cook your meat appropriately.
That's great, but in third world countries like Haiti, most people don't have access to a readily supply of electricity, water, or heat.
Laura?
What if the Haitians only eat fresh meat, fruits, and vegetables? Then there wouldn't be enough time for them to become contaminated.
I guess, but what if they don't even have access to fresh meat and produce? Even if they are fortunate enough to, what if they can't eat it all in one sitting? Then the bacteria would collect on the food from it sitting out.
Well, we solve that problem here in America by using a refrigerator. But a refrigerator would just be useless in a country like Haiti where they might not have electricity to run it.
Abby? How about something like a plastic cooler? It could act like a refrigerator, but it wouldn't need electricity.
Exactly, but I don't think plastic's the right material to use. Maybe if we made it a metal container. Yeah, that's it. If we put a metal container in the ground, filled it with food, put a lid on top, and concealed it with dirt, it would act as a natural cooler. It would keep the food inside cold at a safe temperature, but easily accessible. Plus, it would be very inexpensive.
Cool.
See? It would also help limit 3 problems: the stealing of food, the spreading of foodborne illnesses, and hunger.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But realistically, this would only stop a portion of the foodborne illness in Haiti. Cholera is spread through food that's contaminated and water that's contaminated. So even if we were to clean all the food, if a piece of meat came in contact with contaminated water, it would be just as dangerous as it was before. Well, it's a start.
Well, I guess we're back to square one. I'm depressed.
Class, don't get down on yourself. Look, it's almost time for lunch. Any last minute questions? You can either ask me or Dr. Guggenheim.
What's the most common foodborne illness in the United States?
Oh, I know, pick me. I know.
Salmonella, right?
Wow, way to steal my answer.
You guys can both have an answer, Candy.
Wow. Laura?
How many people in the U.S. get foodborne illnesses each year?
That's a fantastic question. About 1 out of 6 Americans get sick, and about 3,000 die annually. No more questions? Well, for homework, let's think about additional solutions to foodborne illnesses, and tomorrow we can share them in class.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Myers.
Thank
Thank you, Dr. Guggenheim.